Hi, y'all know who I am. So I have this question based on, well, being out today. I'm back home, as you can tell, and I had a lot of running around to do today. So I went to some stores that I don't always go to, but, I needed to get stuff. And I saw a lot of things today that just bothered me about society. I saw people out in the store dressed all kind of ways. Some of it was, pretty revealing, and some of it just dirty and whatever. And I understand that you never know where someone might have been before they came to the store. And, you kind of get that. But, we used to have a little bit more dignity and morality about, how we were perceived out in public. One of the things that really threw me off is a lot of these really young girls. Okay, I'm saying really young because I'm an old guy, but they may be teens. I'm thinking that they probably are, who are wearing pretty much next to nothing, or things that are so tight that there's no secrets, and they're with their parents. And I got into something a few years ago where this woman had three daughters, and she said that you just don't know what it's like with the daughters and the peer pressure and all this other kind of stuff. And I said, I may not have any kids, but come on now. You're supposed to be the parent. You're supposed to be the one who sets the standard for how your kids are going to, proceed in life. And, we've gotten into a place where it seems that the tighter and the more revealing young women can make their clothes, I don't know if they think that it's fashion or it gives them an empowerment, but I think it sets up a dangerous precedent. And by the way, I'm not letting young guys off the hook either. Of course, we see these kids walking around, around with the pants hanging below their underwear or whatever, and I don't know where that came from. And I understand it's hot, but you have a lot more kids walking around, without their shirts on, which, if you're outside, fine and dandy, I guess, there's no big deal. But a lot of them want to walk in stores, and then they get mad when store owners say, no, you can't come in here like that. And everyone wants to say, well, this is my freedom of expression. I should be allowed to do this. I don't think so. Last night I'm in the airport in Washington, D.C., and this young woman was upset, something that happened to her flight. And so she wasn't going to get home that night. And, she was most probably going to get home the next day. Obviously I've been there. I did a video and actually a whole blog post about a little over a month ago where I ended up spending a night, overnight, in the airport. It happens sometimes. You can't control everything. You can't control the weather. You can't control certain other factors. My goodness, the plane I was on last night to come home, the power went out in the plane. And the pilot was asking for a generator. What do you do? But anyway, this young lady was obviously upset, and she was, just behind me, and I was going to offer, words of encouragement, and then she just started cussing out loud, all this bad language. And I'm thinking, you know what, there's no call for that. I understand you're upset, but you're in public. You're young. There's probably some kids. Matter of fact, there were some little kids around, and she doesn't care. It's all about her at that moment. No one seems to care about anyone else these days, and you know what? That's a morality problem, and that ultimately leads to a leadership problem. It's a leadership drain. I remember back when I was young, my dad would not watch a movie with an older person if there was cussing in it. He just wasn't doing it. So here I am now in my mid-50s, and I won't do it. There's just no way. I just couldn't conceive of doing something like that, because you want to show honor and tribute to someone older. I don't know. I might have this kind of Pollyanna thought, because if you saw all of the Godfather movies, and okay, you know what, I really only remember the first one, which was the best one, so I guess that's the one to remember. But they seem to do a heck of a lot of cussing, and those were some of those were fairly old guys. Marlon Brando wasn't necessarily as old as he looked in that movie, but there were some fairly old guys. And yet, even in that movie, when it came to the grandmothers or the women, they would change up the language. Hey, show some respect, whatever. So everyone seems to have at least a little bit of respect somewhere. And maybe if you're among your friends and that's the kind of language that's out there, fine. And I understand if something happened to you and you get injured and maybe you're trying to deal with the pain, fine. But I think that there's just this lack of care about anybody else. It's all me, me, me. It's not what leadership is all about. Do people care? I don't know. I care. I'm certainly not going to change how I treat people or how I'm going to act out in public. But what are we teaching the young people that gives them this sense of entitlement to say these things, to dress like they do some of the things that they want to do? Or am I just an old guy who the times have passed? You know what? You let me know. You think about it. This is 28 days in a row. 2 more to go. Y'all take care. Have a great Saturday.